also known as Mani sir. And he's going to talk to us about placement readiness. And before we start the talk from him, I would like to quickly introduce him. Earlier over the email, I had shared his profile, but for the benefit of the audience who may not have received the email. So Mr. Mani is a metallurgist by training from NIT Jamshedpur and schooled entirely in the TVS schools at Madurai. He has been through pioneering giants like Vidya, Advani, uh, Earlicon, Carborundum Universal, working with an exotic variety of materials before making the shift to engineering behavior of people. After a long stint with NIS Sparta and NIIT, Manisar founded Mentor Learning in 2002, where they practice behavior and learning engineering aligned to organizational results. Manisar's work in consulting and facilitation revolves around developing mentoring systems, culture, visioning and leadership team bonding, organization development, learning and leadership development, psychometric and competency assessments, business mentoring for SMEs, and executive and team coaching, amongst others. Manisar runs this mentor.in, an established learning and organizational development company delivering a wide array of learning and behavior engineering solutions globally. Life skills for students, employability, and placement readiness are some of the happening areas at Mentor. Indexing qualitatively the placement readiness using a remote assessment, which consists of MCQs plus conversations, and offering pointed feedback is one marquee approach for them, and helping a better understanding of the human phenomenon, aligning forces instead of forcing alignment is his creed. Now, this was from his profile, and I would like to share some of my personal experiences working with him. So, January 2014, I think we met in Great Lakes School of Management, Institute of Management, and my previous employer, Sen Goben, had organized these interaction sessions with Mr. Mani, and we had almost 1.5 days or 2 days of intense interactions, and that was for developing our presentation skills and things like that. And I must say that I had a very wonderful experience interacting with sir, and it definitely had a long lasting impression. His interactions and his teachings had a long lasting impression on me, and it made me a better presenter, if I may claim so. And based on that experience, when we were looking for having somebody guide the students or share experiences on doing good in placements, I could not think of any better individual than Mani sir. And so, sir, we are very thankful to you that you have accepted our invitation to share your experiences and help the students. And with that brief introduction, I now pass on the stage to you. So,
wonderful. Thank you. Namaste. I would also like to make a user presentation. Will you allow me to share my screen?
yes, sir. I will be stopping the sharing, and it will be yours now.
Thank you.
And to the students, sir, would you like to have questions in between or at the end of the talk?
I would prefer to address questions, at the end of the talk. Okay.
Sure.
Let me walk you through this. Probably on and off, maybe I'll trigger you to interact a little bit. Ideally, I would like to keep it very interactive. Two constraints: A, time. B, there are too many people, so I don't know how to manage this. So let's establish a ground rule that I will do this talk for about 40 minutes. I'll try and keep it under 40 minutes. And then, I'll take as many questions as possible. Is that okay with all of you guys?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. And to the students, if you have a question, you can raise your hand and we will then ask you to unmute and pose your question.
You can also type in the question in the chat window if you can, so we'll be able to address all of that. We'll not miss anyone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes.
Wonderful. Yes. Good. We have about 55, 56 people. That's nice.
It'll rise soon, sir. I think the numbers will touch
That's
100
okay.
and above. Yes, sir.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to so there is some.
There's an arrow button at the top, sir. It says share.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Give me a moment. Yeah.
Sure, sir.
Ah. Mac is troubling me. Just give me a moment. Yeah. Says we need permission to share my screen. Just give me one moment. Can I
Sure.
join from the, let me join the thing from my web browser. I think it will not trouble me. Just give me one moment. I'm going to log out and log in one few
No
seconds.
problem, sir. No problem, sir.
Thanks.
So students, I would request you to encourage your classmates to also join. It will be nice if we give him a good audience. And like I mentioned earlier, if you have a question at the end of the talk, you please raise your hand and we'll unmute you or ask you to unmute and then you pose your question.
Some ridiculous problem in sharing. It is troubling me with security and privacy settings. These Mac, on and off. Yeah, just 1 second. Let me see if I can.
Sure.
Yeah. Otherwise, I will just share my presentation to you. Maybe you can share
Sir.
the screen.
Sure,
Yeah.
sir. Sure, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we should be fine. Yeah. I guess can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. I can see your screen.
Wonderful. Okay. Brilliant. Yeah.
And the talk is recorded, sir. So yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. This
Yes,
is
sir.
beautiful.
Yes.
So you can see the step up, become career ready screen, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Very good. Hey, good to connect with all of you guys. I'm very happy. It's always nice to speak to younger minds, and I hope I expect to learn as much as I can during this conversation. In fact, I don't know if you are looking forward to the talk. I'm looking forward to the Q&A session. Right? Wonderful. So let me start with a blessing. Yeah, I'm old enough to bless you guys. Okay, so let me start with a blessing. May you never get a job. That's my blessing. Okay. Before you start cursing me, let me complete the blessing. But find a career that brings you joy as much as prosperity. That's my blessing. Okay. Yeah. Now, way back when I was in college, that was about some 35 years ago, I went to NIT Jamshedpur. And I remember those were not times like this. Okay. India was not totally job ready um, market. Okay. Uh, as a ground rule, can we all mute ourselves and unmute only when necessary?
Yeah, students, please keep yourself in mute mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much. So about 35 odd years ago, I founded a student-run placement cell in my college. Okay. I was one of those student leaders, okay, and those were times when even in an NIT, not everyone would get placed. We all had to go out and hunt for jobs in the market, okay, so that was the time. So when I founded the placement cell, a lot of people would come and anxiously ask me, Money, will I get a job? Money, will I get a job? And I would tell all of them, no, you will not. And they would get very angry with me, okay? And they would say, why is Money saying like this? Then I'll calm them down and tell them, look, don't hope to get a job. Aspire to find one, okay? And that is my primary message to you, and that's my blessing. You know, a job is as much a kind of a business or skill entrepreneurship like anything else. You trade your skills. You must do it for the right value and the right reasons, okay? And it is that confidence that changes things, okay? Um, I wanted to give you a very, very interesting perspective to this whole idea of placement. Yeah, and over years, over the last about, I would say, a decade, we've been researching student mindsets. We've been looking at, who gets placed, who doesn't get placed, why is it that they do, so on and so forth, right? And I'll give you the context of what kind of gives me a kick in doing this kind of research, okay, later, a little while from now. Now, there was a reason why I sent these 10 questions to all of you. I hope you all had a chance to reflect on these 10 questions. Can I have a show of hands of how many people attempted to do that? Are there people? Uh, yeah? Did any of you try? Okay. I assume some of you, have had a chance, okay, yeah, Suryakant says yes. I hope many of you had a chance, okay, to reflect on these questions.
Sir, you are muted, sir.
Yes. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Wonderful. So I'll continue. I wanted you to reflect, okay, because talks are not about information. And, I've always believed that these are opportunities to make you think. and find the right answers, make you ask the right questions. Now, so that was the reason why I kind of shared this. Let me kind of go forward, okay, with my talk. And for example, let me start with this first question. Do you know who said this? And what do you feel about this? That's a very insulting statement, isn't it? Right? Yeah. Men go to any extent to avoid the labor of thinking. Is that true? I'm sure you know it makes all of you wonder, okay, and think about it. Right? Actually, this was said by Socrates. And Socrates was a guy who lived as far away as Greece. And most of you recognize the name. You know when he lived? 2,500 years ago. In a place as far away as Greece. And what is Greece today? It's a bankrupt country, right? But we still seem to recognize the name Socrates. Look at how long and far the brand has survived. It has survived 2,500 years. Do you know why? It is because Socrates was the greatest teacher of all times. So Socrates was the guy who kind of completely turned around, okay, the idea of teaching or imparting education on its head. He said the job of the teacher is not to answer questions or provide information. What is it then? It is about making you think. It is about making you find answers, right? Great guy, my hero. Yeah, Socrates, all-time hero. Amazing teacher. Now that man says this statement. Looks like it should be true, right? Let me call out, okay? What is the secret behind this? Now, obviously, we all think. Without thinking, we cannot survive. Okay? Not just us. For example, the moment I say cheetah, what comes to your mind? Speed, right? Yeah? You think of speed. Cheetah means it runs fast. Correct? But how long can a cheetah run fast? How fast can it run and for how long? Maybe it can run about 50 miles an hour. But for how long? Maybe a minute. Not more than that. Correct? So even a cheetah has to decide which 1 minute it will run as fast as it can. Okay, otherwise it won't catch its prey. So the idea here is people think to work. Not just people, all species have to think to survive. Okay, we all have our mechanisms. But why would Socrates make a statement like this? Okay, if this is true. You know, the interesting part is we rarely think about how we think about how we work, right? So we don't think about how we think or we don't think about how we work, right? And that's a problem and we resist that. Let me prove it to you very quickly, yeah, with a couple of quick exercises. Now, before that, Shrikant introduced me as a metallurgist, correct? Now, why did a metallurgist, flounder all the way into working with people and behavior science? Okay, so I used to work with materials for about 10 years, yeah, engineering properties of materials. But at some point, I realized that men and material don't behave differently at all. There's a lot of commonality. The first discovery that I made about men and materials is that both are liked for their properties. If your properties are likable, you're liked and you are in demand. But if your properties are not relevant and they are not likable, even though intrinsically you may be an amazing person, okay, you're not going to be respected. So it's about relevance of the properties, correct, to the consumer. fact, it was a striking thing for me to realize that I thought I used to make steel or I used to make tungsten carbide, but no one cared about steel or tungsten carbide. All they wanted was the properties I was giving them. They wanted something that could build a fence, or they wanted something, that could actually stamp a small bar of tungsten, okay, or make a die, okay, or whatever, right? So properties. The second interesting thing I found out was both have to change something from within if their property were to change. Imagine today someone doesn't find you attractive and you want to become attractive to that person, which means you need to change your property, right? Such change is not easy. It comes with something intrinsically that has to change. With materials, it would usually be, the crystal structure, the microstructure, or, faces inside, etc., etc., right? I want to change hardness, then the face has to change inside. The third interesting thing that I found out was that such change, we want cannot be done directly. We can only induce that change to happen inside by creating an external environment. Correct? Now, iron and oxygen are in love with each other. They are probably amazing couple. They like to get back. Even today, you throw a bar of iron outside, what happens? Within a few hours or within a few days, you can see rust, right? The purest form of love, as I see it. Now, the point is, if I want to separate iron and oxygen, I need to create an environment where oxygen is tempted to run away from iron, right? That's the engineering we do as metallurgists, correct? I find carbon, which at 850 degrees or so, more attractive for oxygen, okay? So it runs away. So this is very interesting. And therefore, what I find is that uh, when you want to change properties, you have to create an environment which can induce that change, right? So are you attractive enough? Are you relevant, okay, to the environment? Do you want to change the way you appear? You want to be, attractive, or you want to become a choice, okay, for someone? Then I think you need to kind of carefully change these properties. So I came up with this insight that forcing alignment doesn't work. You need to align forces. It's very important for you to align forces, okay, and make people choose you. And the most important thing, therefore, is aligning forces is far more difficult than forcing alignment because you need to understand people, you need to understand yourself. It's difficult, but it is effective. Let me kind of quickly set this context, okay, as to why this is very important, right? Um, what do you see in this picture? Can you all see my screen? I want a show of hands as to how many of you are seeing the old lady. Okay, okay. How many of you are able to see the young lady? I want fresh show of hands. How many of you are able to see both? Do you realize what's happening here? Some of you can only see the old lady. Some of you can see only the young lady. Some of you can see both. What does that tell you? Yeah? What does that tell you? This is what we call as perceptions, right? We run our lives through perceptions. Does it make sense? Yeah? And it's very So it's very important for you to understand that we only see what we want to see, right? Okay. So, and similarly, other people only see what they want to see. Okay. Perceptions are very, very important. And I'll tell you very quickly why contextually this is crucial, okay, in the placement process. Now, if you all have a sheet of paper, I would like you to draw what you see on the screen. What do you see on the screen? 9 dots. Can you all quickly, make these 9 dots somewhere if you have a sheet of paper or something? Yeah? I hope you all have done. Okay, so I'm going to now give you a little challenge. Can I ask you to connect all these 9 dots using just 4 straight lines without lifting your pen off the paper? Meaning, do it continuously, 4 straight lines without retracing or, going back on any of the lines. In one continuous movement, can you connect all the 9 dots using 4 straight lines? Ayush Mishra says yes, but look at it, 4 lines or 5 lines? Okay. Now, some of you may have attempted, some of you may have seen this earlier, but many of you may be struggling. So in the interest of time, I'm going to give you the solution. Just take a look at my screen. Yeah? 1, 2, 3, and 4. What are you struggling with? Can you see that? You're struggling with your own barrier. You created a barrier within your mind that you should not go beyond the 9 dots. Many of you are struggling with that. Those of you who didn't have that barrier, who could break it, went out of the 9 dots, okay, and then, managed to kind of crack it in 4 straight lines. The rest of you would have comfortably done it in 5. Yeah, the difference between 4 lines and 5 lines here is what? It's your mindset. Now, what do you see there? A Roman 9. Now, I'll give you the option to convert it into a 6. You can add 1 extra line anywhere you want, above, below, sidewards, wherever. You got it? Now, can you see what is your fix? I don't know how many of you thought of, S not as an alphabet, but as a line. It's a curve, but it's a line, correct? Now, very interestingly, how do we relate to the world? We have perceptions which become mindsets and they harden and they become biases. So invariably, if you really look at the idea of placement, okay, I wanted to kind of help you deal with these barriers. I call them as cognitive barriers to thriving. Our enemy is not outside, our enemy is right inside us, okay, within us. So I wanted to help you clarify, gain some perspectives on placement that should help us pursue placements joyfully and hence become successful. In fact, over the last 5-6 years, we have created a lot of material and processes, okay, to help many people confidently and joyfully pursue placement. And I'm going to give you pretty much a gist of, what is it that we are doing. Does that make sense? Is the context clear? Good. Now, let me start off by this very fundamental question. Okay. I'm sure you've heard of this word intelligence, right? Now, can any of you define intelligence for me? Don't Google immediately. On top of your mind, what is intelligence?
మీరు కూడా వాటికి ఇంటెలిజెన్స్ అనాలి.
Hanji?
ఎక్కడ చూస్తున్నా తెలిసిపోద్ది పని చేయట్లేదు.
Okay. Can you put your answers in the chat box? I would like to quickly see. Yeah. Where can I see the chat box here, Shrikant? Is it there?
Yes, sir, it's there. I think some people have started typing. So there is this message symbol on the dashboard.
Okay. I can see view, I can see more, camera.
I'll read out the ones which are posted, sir. So there is
Yeah. Please.
Akshat has defined intelligence as the ability of mind to solve problems.
Okay. Ability of the mind to solve problems, okay. Anyone else? You know, I have found people really struggling to answer this question, you know. But intelligence is something that we keep encountering on a daily basis, right? Okay, it's not something new. You know what is the answer to this? Intelligence is nothing but response to stimuli. But many of us connect it to knowledge, we connect it to information, we connect it to expertise, okay, blah, blah, blah. Intelligence fundamentally is responding to stimuli. Now, I'm going to give you a little quick simulation. I want all of you to visualize and imagine what I am saying. Yeah? Are you okay? Carefully listen and visualize what I'm saying. Now you're getting up in the morning, early in the morning, and you come out of your home, look at the road. The weather is beautiful, pleasant, 5:36 in the morning. The roads are empty and you feel like going for a drive. So you get into your car and start driving. What is the normal tendency? Empty roads and pleasant weather, you tend to push the pedal, right? You get into the accelerator. I mean, you push the accelerator, start driving fast, correct? You keep moving, you whistle to yourself, and you know you're enjoying your drive. And as you're moving a little up, suddenly 20 feet in front of you, you see this old man coming from a bylane on the side, okay, in a bicycle. You notice him only 20 feet in front of you. Yeah, you saw the old man. What will you do now? Obviously, you'll brake, right? You'll apply the brake. As soon as you apply the brake, what's the most spontaneous thing you will do? You'll curse, right? After you curse, are you happy? Not really. You feel numbed. Now, let's just replay very quickly. Ask ourselves, as soon as you saw the old man, did you get a feeling? Did you get an emotion also? Obviously, yes. You remember that raw fear, okay, that you experienced as soon as you saw that old man in front of you? Happens to most of us, right? So fear happened immediately after you saw the old man. As soon as you applied the brake and you realized you were safe, what was that feeling? What did that feeling transform into? It became anger. And after you cursed, the anger drained away. What do you realize? Or what do you feel? Sadness. Correct? Now let's try and kind of look at this as a schematic. There was a stimulus, you saw the old man, it created an emotion, and then you responded to it. And then the response became a stimulus, then an emotion followed, and you responded to that. And subsequently, the other response became a stimulus, blah, blah, blah. This is a chain, okay, that dominates our life. Now tell me, when you cursed after applying the brake, what were you responding to? Were you responding to the stimulus, or were you responding to the emotion that followed the stimulus? Now, some reflection will tell you that we often respond to the emotion that follows the stimulus and not the stimulus itself. So what is intelligence? It's not knowledge. Intelligence is responding to stimuli in spite of your emotions. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this is that placement journey becomes a tortuous journey for many of you because you are not able to realize what kind of emotions you are going through. And you jump and respond too much to emotions. It becomes a journey filled with anxiety instead of joy. Okay, and there are some ways, okay, to deal with it or tackle it. And that's what I am going to talk about in the next about 20 minutes. Okay, pay as much attention as possible the next about 20 to 25 minutes. Now, how are people recruited? Obviously, someone assesses your background through the resume, certificates, reference checks, etc. And by and large, they can't differentiate too much amongst you guys. Of course, maybe, your scores, your CGPAs may kind of have a little bit of, issues and whatever. Then subsequently, they look at functional capability. They assess through skill tests, interviews, demonstrations, whatever they want to assess. Correct? Now, invariably, what happens is there'll be a big bunch of you who will be screened. Okay. I mean, life is a process of elimination because there are too many people available. There is more supply, okay, than the demand. And therefore, screening happens. And who knows it better than you guys? You've all come through the JEE process, okay? You know that well. That's the reality. But what is very important is you need to realize that at any point in time, people would have crossed these two filters, and now amongst you, someone is going to make a decision, okay, on who they want. And that happens, interestingly, based on your attitudes and your behavioral fitment. This eventually becomes the final differentiator that helps you kind of get placed, where you want and how you want. And what are these? We've been studying this, okay? Openness to adapt or change, okay? People who interview you, I mean, they don't have a meter, okay? This is not pressure, temperature, okay, or density, which you can measure physically accurately and say that, between this level and this level, I will pick, right? So it's a subjective assessment. People want to know if you are open to adapt or change. People want to know if you have the conviction and confidence. People want to know if you have clarity of purpose. Okay, are you motivated by this job and this domain and this environment? They make their assessments. They want to know if you have a good work ethic, you have diligence. They want to know if you can communicate effectively. They want to know if you collaborate and you team play well. These are important characteristics that people assess. So, how do they know? Very simply, do you handle objections confidently and calmly? Do you sound like, you believe in yourself? Are you clear and firm about your preferences? Are you prepared? Are you serious about work? Are you articulating and listening effectively? Are you responsive to suggestions? Show initiative. You don't know how much people can make out so instinctively and intuitively. You can't even go back and question. So the best thing is to work backwards. If you want to have a lovely, joyous placement journey, I have some very concrete and yet very simple, okay, profound suggestions, okay? Hear me out, okay, in the next 15, 20 minutes. First of all, it doesn't matter what role we are trying to apply for or seek. Remember that we need to convince a recruiter to trust us and find us reliable enough to be hired, because he cannot hide his decision. His decision is going to be examined and questioned, okay? And therefore, you need to make someone be convinced, trust you, find you reliable enough, okay, to be hired. How do we do that? Okay, so there are some 5-6 items that are important. Now, I'm assuming that you have fundamentally the basic aptitude and skills required for the job, and now you are kind of competing with people. Then you need to appear clear and confident. You need to articulate with ease and composure. You need to respond with the street smartness to typical interview triggers. You need to display comfort and calm in your responses. Talk about self without hesitation. Become less anxious and more hopeful. Prepare with structure effectively. Now, I'm sure all of these are commonsensical, right? So how do you go about it with some level of structure? You know, uh, uh, I want you to remember that the biggest enemy in the whole placement process is your your inability to process your fear. Okay? Some of you may be afraid of the human interaction. Some of you may be afraid of, being imperfect. Some of you may be afraid of failing, blah, blah, blah. There are a variety of things. See, but remember, fear is the biggest driver of human behavior. Whether you like it or not, fear would be there. You know what? Our design is such that if you don't have fear, you will die in the next 20 minutes. So nature has created fear as a survival emotion. You will have fears about everything. Most fears don't happen, but they will be there. Only humans can deliberately manage fear. If you notice carefully, almost all species other than humans survive by instinct. They don't analyze to survive. They survive by instinct. But only human being survives by imagination. And that's a problem. In many ways, it's a great advantage. But when you are not able to sense and manage fear, your imagination becomes a big problem. Okay. It kind of amplifies your fears very significantly. So my first and most important advice to you, if you want to crack the placement process, is sit down and understand your fears. Work on them. Your fears are not true. In fact, a lot of our research tells us that 93% of all fears that you experience don't become real at all. It's pretty much like the insurance game. It's probability, right? So I'm not saying ignore your fears. The moment you start understanding, reflecting, and articulating on your fears, you will find that your responses become very different. Okay, the kind of confidence that you exude changes completely. When you are in control, fear translates to nervous energy. It helps and energizes your performance. If you reflect on it carefully, you will realize that it makes sense. So I have a simple checklist for you. The checklist is clarity. Are you clear about your needs, wants, and choices? Don't think that your recruiter is an idiot. You may be a superman. Okay, you may be capable of flying. You may be capable of, weaving gold out of thin air. But the recruiter is not going to fall for all that. He's only going to fall for whether you are even clear about wanting to work with him. You need to be able to, convey clarity. That's the first thing. In fact, I think it precedes even going and applying or trying to kind of compete for something. Clarity is about knowing what you want, okay, and going after what you want, not, something that is available there. Do you remember my blessing when we started? I bless you that you don't get a job, but you find one. Probably find a career that brings you as much joy as much as you get prosperity. Confidence. People want to see you as reliable. So projecting assurance and conviction in speech and demeanor, okay, is very important. Very often, this can be done commonsensically. When you talk to people, nowadays we live in an era of technology. You don't even have to have anyone else to give you feedback. You can just record yourself, okay, as you express yourself and find how confident or how reliable you come across as. Right? The best way to build it is to watch yourself and get feedback. Communication. Now, you need to see communication is not about informing other people. Communication is about, can I develop trust in another person? And that's communication. Can I get the desired response? Yeah, can I make the other person feel that I am passionate about this? Can I make the other person feel, okay, that I am vulnerable or I am confident? Okay, and that is communication. We've all been conditioned to believe communication is information transfer. No. Communication is about making people evoke emotions and act, right? Collaboration, uh, energizing others, adaptability, being flexible. When you're flexible, it develops confidence in others. Diligence, okay, demonstrating thoroughness, mindfulness, okay, and is a reliable work ethic. It makes people feel safe. So people are not really evaluating who you are. People are actually evaluating how you make them feel. Are you getting my point? So I call this the C4AD checklist. Okay, it's very important for you to work on clarity, work on your confidence, work on your communication, work on your ability to communicate collaboration, work on your adaptability, work on your diligence. Because every single recruiter on this planet, when he knows that you are basically hygiene and above requirement material, starts now choosing. And when he chooses, it is C4AD that comes to his mind when he makes the choice. Now, if we can't see any of the 6 parameters, he kind of thinks of putting you lower down in his priority. Now, clarity. I'll start with clarity. Have you heard of Ikigai? I would like all of you to Google and understand what is Ikigai. Now, Ikigai is a beautiful Japanese concept. Now, it is basically trying to be at the intersection of 4 things. What you love, what you are good at, the intersection of these two is what we call as passion, right? What is your passion? The intersection of what you are good at and what you want or what you can be paid for is called profession. So are you at the intersection of your passion and the profession that you want to do? Now imagine if you are at the intersection of what you love, what you are good at, and what you can be paid for. Pretty much that's Ikigai for me. But if you can also combine it with what the world needs, then I think you are at the best possible intersection. Have you even reflected on what is it that you want to do? Now, I would like you to go back and answer all the 10 questions that I gave you as part of the pre-talk reflection triggers. If you are able to clearly answer all of them, I'm telling you, you will have my blessing turning to reality. You will find a career that will bring you joy as well as prosperity. So it's about paradigms and perspectives. Now, one of the things that I find people not doing is, I call it as the PTC matrix to understand any job that you are applying for. Okay. For example, if I want to apply for something, okay, I mean, I find it very attractive. The first thing, what is the purpose of that role? What will be your responsibilities? Will it take you where you want to in your life? Okay, answer that question. If the answer is yes, and you are curious about it and you want to attempt that, then immediately start preparation. What are the tasks you need to do regularly or consistently or discreetly to perform this role? And therefore, what are the competencies that are crucial for performing these tasks effectively? Now, anyone who carefully and diligently does a PTC matrix analysis before getting into an interview, I find that they perform significantly well and they are differentiated by recruiters. So we teach people to do diligently the PTC matrix. Okay, PTC is important. So, a series of questions. Did you choose the job role that aligns with your career aspirations? Can you describe briefly why you chose this particular role? Have you reviewed and analyzed the job description for your chosen role? What are the key responsibilities outlined in the job description? Yeah, so on and so forth. If the role is generic, then the organization, the domain, the markets around. Okay, I think it's very important for you to become purposeful. I mean, I can make out a guy who is clear and purposeful and motivated, okay, to do something from 10 miles away. He reeks of confidence and clarity. But a guy who wants a lottery, okay, who says, let me go and try this, okay, I don't know if it'll work, it might work, otherwise it might not work, is not the kind of guy that I want to hire. Now remember, someone who comes to an IIT, okay, to hire is not hiring run-of-the-mill people. They are hiring future leaders. We don't come to IIT to hire run-of-the-mill guys. I don't want a coder. I don't want a programmer. I don't want, an engineer. I don't want, a designer. I don't want all that. I want future leaders. So they expect clarity in you. So do the PTC, do the job review, do the preparation carefully. Okay. Don't worry about making too much notes in too much of a hurry. I will share this presentation, Shrikant. You can share it with all those who attended.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And for example, someone asks you to give an intro. Don't recite your bio. I'm not interested. I can read your bio. When I ask you to introduce yourself, I'm looking for what's your story. Yeah. So, you may tell your background, but who are you? Give a crisp description. Talk about your capabilities, skills, hobbies, interests. Talk about your accomplishments or certifications. Talk about what differentiates you from others. In fact, I will keep the first four limited, maybe the first three very limited. I'll focus on, the fourth and fifth largely. You get my point? Okay. I mean, it's about conveying purpose. It's about conveying suitability. It's about communicating why you are relevant to those people. Right? Which means if you don't understand what they want, or if you don't understand what they are looking for, then you are not even in the game. Yeah. So you're all engineers. Engineers don't pray and hope. Engineers define the end and work backwards. I call it as begin with the end in mind. Okay. Now, remember, you cannot not communicate. Even when you remain silent, you communicate. Okay. So instead of communicating something which is not your intention, you need to purposefully design what you want to communicate. And interestingly, communication is effective only when it gets the desired response. If I want all of you to get angry now, I need to design what will I do now to make you feel angry, because my expectation is that you get angry, right? I should do something that makes you get angry. I don't have to give a lecture for 45 minutes about what is anger. I can make you feel angry in a jiffy. Yeah? And articulation is effective only when others perceive conviction, confidence, and enthusiasm in what you are delivering. I would like all of you guys to watch, maybe this Richard Attenborough movie called Gandhi. Okay, watch how Ben Kingsley talks. Or watch this movie called Scent of a Woman, okay, where Al Pacino speaks, okay. He's a blind guy, but he can get across what he wants, okay, so bloody well, okay, much better than many people who can see. Yeah. So conviction, confidence, and enthusiasm, okay, they are seen miles from afar. Work on that. And invariably, there are 5 things that I find people struggling with. Okay, these are the barriers that I find people invariably not able to get out of. Feeling judged or evaluated. Don't care about it. Okay, who's the world to tell you who you are? You know who you are. Fear of failing or being ridiculed. Okay, I have seen people learn so much from failure. Success is terribly overrated. Yeah, failures actually teach you a lot more, okay? And they're the ones that invest in you and, make you get out of it. And don't allow your identity or image, okay, to be formed by your, affected by your failures. Build them with your failures, okay? And I'm not sure of what to say. Doesn't matter, say it. My vocabulary or my language is poor, I am inadequate, or I need to be perfect about it. All of these are barriers, okay? Just be who you are and, talk about things. So I keep saying, prepare, plan your pitch, your pace, your pauses, and your propositions, okay? So these are the important things that matter, okay? And there are no perfect formulae for any of these. Trust your instinct, trust your common sense, look at what the other person wants, and then everything falls in place. Products don't mean anything. Doesn't matter what kind of technology they are made of. If they are not made of the way people want them, no one will touch them. Do you know what Steve Jobs' famous design dictum was? He said, design a product which people will be willing to stand in a queue overnight and pay a premium to buy. That's all. So guess, anticipate, extrapolate, understand what people want. Okay. A lot of us talk about this idea called win-win. You know what that is? Very simple. If I give you the win that you want, you will be morally obliged to give me the win that I want. Okay. You won't even think twice. Doesn't matter what the price is, etc. If I can give the recruiter what he wants, you will get, what you want. Right? So, who's my audience? What do they like? What do I want them to do or feel? What content will suit this purpose? How can I be brief and logical and to the point? How can I make it interesting to them? Or what should I avoid doing that could distract them? These are the fundamental things that you worry about. And, there are many interesting tips. Okay, I'm not going to waste time on that now. What I'm going to go straight for is one of the ways, okay, that people judge you, okay, when they hire you is they want to know how well you handle objections. Okay, I gave you the C4AD model, right? The adaptability comes through by the way you handle objections. Okay. See, I don't have too much time as a recruiter to decide whether you are good enough or not. So I try and use my own methods and use my instinct to know whether you are adaptable or not. One of the ways, okay, in which people judge you for adaptability is the way you respond to objections. So I call it as, the LCR model. You listen, consider, and then respond. Now, what I'm saying could sound very simplistic and commonsensical to you, but if you are drowned by your fear and if you're not even aware of what you are doing while responding to objections, okay, someone will push you hard and say, no, I don't think you are good enough for this, okay, I'm not sure why I should hire you. Those are the kind of triggers, okay, that bring the natural you. Okay, are you adaptable? Are you calm? Are you, capable of, doing things? So these are the triggers that people use to kind of make you become the real you, the primal you, the animalic you, and then see who you are. So watch out and prepare for all of this, right? So I will summarize it like this. If I were to kind of put together a very simple prep checklist for placement. The first question is, what is the role or job I want? What kind of organizations, okay, do I want to work with? Do I have a list of them? So 35 years ago, I decided that I will only work for 3 organizations. I thought I'll work for SAIL, or I'll work for Vidya, or I'll work for Asia Brown Boveri. SAIL recruited people through entrance exams. I went through the process, I failed. The other two wouldn't come to my campus. You know what I did? I took a A4 sheet, a foolscap paper, and then wrote a letter to both the managing directors. I told them how badly I wanted to work for them. One guy wrote back to me saying, sorry, I'm not hiring this year. If you can wait for a year, I would like to hire you, give you a chance. The third guy called me for an interview and they hired me. Okay, so the whole point is go find what you want. Anything that you're passionate about, anything that you can convey your interest and keenness and motivation about will always be the career that you want to build. Now, so list your options, okay, and go after them and find your jobs. That's my first prep suggestion. Second, okay, you decide to go for an interview, do a PTC matrix for the role. Do your research about the organization, okay? Don't take anything for granted. And, get an understanding of their process. Remember, you guys are engineers at heart. You always work backwards. You deliver results. You don't pray and hope. Yeah, you aim and shoot, right? So that's very important. Third thing, if you were a recruiter, okay, what would you look for in a candidate? Have you listed all the questions and have you tried answering them? Okay, engage with your friends, okay, have your mocks, have fun, preparing for this, right? And what better than a campus to have fun like that, okay? Pull each other's legs, put yourself, through stress situations and prepare for it. In our college, we used to call it Hawabaji. We used to do Hawabaji and prepare. Most of us who were Hawabajis were the ones who cracked all the placement things now first, right? Okay, it used to be a funny irony, but I think, it makes sense because you start preparing for the real world, okay, and do that. Finally, make an action plan and execute it, right? So as we part, I want to kind of summarize this as simply as I can. Don't wait to get a job. Go find one. The C4AD works. Master all the elements. Yeah, clarity, confidence, communication, collaboration, adaptability, and diligence. Get them inside you and make them communicate on their own to others. Okay, the fragrance, okay, should be visible to people. Anxiety doesn't help. Conquer your fears. Replace them with purpose and motivation. Begin with the end in mind. Go after the career that you want. Now reflect carefully. Build yourself brick by brick. Life is no magic. It's a lot of purposeful work. And I want you to remember that we all play to win. We all play to win. But at the end, win does not matter at all. It's a momentary thing. The play is the win. Okay? Now, the way you play, the way you enjoy the play, the way it comes out of you, it reeks of character. Okay? It conveys character. And what's the most important thing is to enjoy that. Okay? Wonderful. That's all I have now in the time. Okay? And I'm absolutely okay answering questions. I'm hoping to learn now.
Okay, so sir, very nice talk. I think the points that you have mentioned are going to prepare the students not only for the next interview, but these are all very foundational and fundamental points which will help them throughout their professional career. So I think all those students who attended this talk can consider themselves fortunate. They have learned something very, very important, very, very fundamental. Now, with that, I request the students to put forward their questions to Mani sir.
Absolutely. Give me your
Anamika?
Yeah, absolutely. Anamika, you can, if you can give us your video feed, I would love to see you and answer your question.
That's very nice of you, sir. Thank you, but it's okay.
Right.
So I have this question. If you were offered like multiple job offers and you like all of them, but one of them offers enough facilities and stabilities but pays less, and the other one doesn't have that much facility or stability but brings out more of you. So which one would you prefer?
Yeah. So, I'll always focus on my passion more than my profession. Okay. Because I want to come back home happy. I want, to grow. I want, to put in the best that I can into my job. So your criteria must be clear to you, Anamika.
Okay.
Okay.
That is there, sir. But like, even if it brings out more of me in the job, stability also does matter, doesn't it?
See, very interestingly, if you go back and do a little bit of analysis, the human race is the only race, which tries to accumulate, far more than what they really require. Okay. Each of us is sitting on about 30, 40x of the resources that we really need to survive. And we are still anxious about accumulating more. I'm not talking philosophically. At the end of the day, we all eventually end up leaving legacies. We all leave our stamp, based on the kind of work that we deliver, the kind of value that we build. Stability will happen. Initially, in the first, say, decade of your life, I would recommend that you focus on wherever you find maximum learning possibilities, wherever maximum challenges are available, wherever maximum value addition that you can do, wherever you can learn the maximum, try and kind of focus on that. That's my opinion, Anamika.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Next is Rishi Raj. Rishi,
Yeah.
please go for your question. You can turn on your video if you are comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
No
Hello, sir.
compulsion.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, the thing is, I'm actually in a bit of a poor network area, so the video feed won't be working if
No,
that's okay.
don't worry, don't worry. You don't even have to explain. Go on with the question. Let's not waste time.
Yes, sir. Okay, so during interviews, sometimes it can happen that we can get nervous, and that also tends to mess up the answers to questions which we can answer very easily. So, are
Totally.
there any ways to avoid that from happening?
Yeah. So I think the best way is to prep. And the best way is to walk in with no expectations. Okay. Often what happens is expectations screw up things, right? What I'm saying is easier said than done. Okay. One of my experiential lessons in life is that a negotiator who walks into a negotiation totally willing to walk away is the most confident guy. Okay. In other words, prepare hard, Rishiraj, prepare purposefully, and walk in with hope and positivity. Okay. Don't don't focus on the anxiety of will I get, will I not get, will it work, will it not work. There is a lot of probability. In fact, the variables are really beyond your control.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
You get my point? Okay, good,
Yes,
very
sir.
good,
Yes, sir.
very good. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Wonderful.
Students,
Yeah, Kumar has
yeah,
a question.
Kumar Snehal. Yeah, Kumar, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I had a small doubt, like related to interviews only. So when a company or any the interviewers take like asking us questions or judging our personality or whatnot, do they always only go for skills, or do they also like sometimes prefer candidates who are more well-rounded, like in other stuffs which might not pertain to the job?
Yeah, in my opinion, unless your skills are so earth-shatteringly different, Kumar, that you are one in a million, people only look for reasonably well-rounded personalities. Okay, because when you go to the workplace, um, like I said, unless there is this one in a million differentiation, a person who is not rounded enough can bring more problems to the workplace, okay, than the benefits that he can bring. You get my point? Okay, so I'll leave it to you to decide whether you are really, one in a million. Otherwise, a well-rounded person, a person who has relevance to others, who conveys, all the C4AD is important, okay? You should be able to convey clarity, confidence, communication, collaboration, adaptability, and diligence. Okay, so these are the things that one looks for. If they are there, we know that you've been to an IIT, you must be good enough. Okay, so I look for all of that.
Thank you, sir. I understood.
Yeah.
Anshul,
Anshul, go ahead, Anshul. Yeah,
Anshul,
Anshul.
Anshul, are you muted? We are not able to hear you.
Yeah, probably some audio issue.
Otherwise, Anshul, you can type in your question. In the meanwhile, we can have a question from Vani.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. So, as we talk to students here, we get to know that they're trying to dabble into multiple roles at the same time. So, they're unable to get ready for one role in a really good amount of quality. So, how should we like decide in what role we should really prepare for the most and then take other role as just bystanders?
Vani, this is $1 million question. Okay, I am 54. I still am not very sure if I'm doing exactly what I want to do in life. Okay. So it's a tough question to answer. But I'm telling you, you need to see these are not things that you will learn overnight, okay, by one Google search or probably if you ask ChatGPT. These are matters of the heart. You need to start reflecting. Okay, what is it that you want? Okay, in life, what do you want to be known for, or what excites you? What are your aspirations? In what ways do you want to contribute or build value? So these are things that you need to constantly reflect on. Trust your instinct. Okay. Sometimes, I'll tell you, Vani, the biggest problem that I find in people of this age, today's age, we trust too much in logic. We think, everything is objective and, evidenced. Okay. Some of these things are not. You need to open yourself and listen and trust your instincts. Okay. Now keep reflecting. I suggest you journal, okay? Write as much as possible about, what you want, what works for you. Talk to people, okay? Try and understand realities. Many times we build a illusory world in our imagination and assume that this works or that works or this is what I want or that's what I want. Many times, the reality may be totally different. So try and understand, do your research, and take your chances in life. Do you go to KFC, Vani?
Yes, sir.
Do you know when Colonel Sanders founded KFC?
No, but a long back time.
When he was 69 years old.
Okay.
Can you believe? So I want you to kind of enjoy yourself, okay, and make your choices passionately, okay, and take chances. It's okay.
Yes, understood.
Yeah. You guys are anyway cream de la cream, okay? You guys are the chosen ones, okay? So I think you guys should do what you want to do in life passionately. Yeah. Anshul, can you now? Has he typed in somewhere the question?
No, sir. I think he's trying to speak over his
Yeah.
mic.
Yeah,
Anshul, we are
maybe
not able to.
Anshul, sometimes it works. Quickly log out and log in. You should be able to kind of get this sorted.
Yes, sir.
Someone else
Yeah.
tried.
I think Anshul has logged out. Probably he'll come in. Any other students? Students in any questions? Yeah, Harshavardhan. Yeah, Harshavardhan,
Yes.
please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes,
You're
you are.
audible.
Sir, while facing the placement interviews, we can sometimes we'll be getting rejected. So how can we
Yeah.
be still be motivated for the next placement interview?
That's a good one. See, none of this is a loss in any way. Okay. You've just not been there at the right place at the right time, or you've been overshadowed by someone who's probably more suitable. Okay. Now, I want you to think of not what you lost. I want you to think of what you have learned. Okay. Remember, every experience, in fact, like I said, failure in India culturally is terribly underrated. We've all been indoctrinated with the belief that, failing is bad. Okay. I mean, that's stupid completely. Think about it. Okay. How many successes have taught you things? But failures always teach you things. Okay. I mean, they make you well rounded. So I'm not trying to give you rhetoric or I'm not trying to give you some, flashy answer. But practically, if you look back, you've lost nothing. You fail, you fail. It's okay. You were not, it was not meant to be, right? And life is about probability, my dear Harsha, right? Probability is a big thing, right? There's something else that has been designed for you, something else that has been cut out for you. Yeah? Make sense?
Harsha?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. Hello. Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome, Harsha. Yeah.
Other
Anshul
students,
managed
any
to
other
join.
questions? Yeah, Aditya, please go ahead.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, Aditya.
Sir, I want to ask that I am a third year student and we are preparing for internship. But sir, when we get some opportunity to apply, then sir, some thought like at this time I am not completely prepared or I have not covered all that topics that might be asked in the uh, interview round or online test. So, sir, at that time, how to deal with these thoughts and how to uh, apply for the opportunities and
Yeah. I'll answer it in a single line, Aditya. Many times, what is important is not whether you know or don't know. What is important is the other person should not know that you don't know. Okay. You get my point? Okay. So take your chances in life. Okay. If you, number one, if you want something, work hard for it. Okay. Prepare for it. Yeah. If you really want that job, then I think you should do your research. You must understand what that company is. See, remember, I want all of you to appreciate a fundamental fact. When you are interviewing for a job, it is not you only who's being evaluated. It is also the organization that is being evaluated by you. You decide whether you want to be there or not. Okay, it's a trade. When you go to a shop, you ask for a brand, and the shopkeeper says, no, I don't have the brand, I have only the other brand. Okay, you're not going to buy, right? It's your choice, okay, to buy what you want. Okay, so I want all of you to remember that you are already roughly 1 in a million. I don't know what's the ratio. IIT is what, 1 in 200, Srikant, 1 in 1,000?
Sir, it will be about 1 in 1,000, I think.
1 in 1,000 is a bloody difficult ratio, man. So you are special, number one. So when you go for an interview, be very clear, be humble, but remember that you are equally evaluating. You want, to know whether they are worth you. Correct? Yeah. So go with that kind of confidence, Aditya. Right? And remember, whether you know or you don't know doesn't matter. You ensure that the other guy doesn't know that you don't know. Okay, that's important. Correct? Be confident. C4AD, remember that.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You'll do well.
Other students? Are there any other questions? Anshul? Okay. So if there are no other questions, then let's thank Mani sir for a wonderful talk. I think the lessons you have provided today are going to be they're like universal lessons and everlasting lessons. I think these students can carry these lessons forward with them and use them throughout their professional career, and they will stand in good stead for them. So, and sir, again, many thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to interact with the students. I think it was it's very nice of you, sir. And
Absolutely. My pleasure.
and yes, sir.
Thank you.
Students, can we have a virtual round of applause, or maybe you can turn on your mics and then let's give a round of applause to sir.
Thank you very much. All the best. All the best. And, I would love all of you to find your career, find your jobs that, bring you a lot of joy as much as prosperity. I think you guys are chosen ones, already 1 in 1,000. So don't have any lack of confidence. Okay, go after what you want. And I pray that, all of you get what you want. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It's very nice of you, sir.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll share the slides. You can share it with your people.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Bye.
Thank you, sir, and have a good day. Okay, so students, with that, we come to end of this session, and thank you for staying with us. And I'll share the slides with you after I receive them from sir. Okay, so thank you all.